What's up, guys? I'm gonna make a little bit longer video. Recently I posted a video showing the before and after of our experiment, and somebody asked if I would explain how I set this up. So I'm gonna go into a little bit more depth on how I watered some seedling plants for 8 days while on vacation. So to start, I'll start here. These are just large totes. This one's 27 gallons. So I've got two 27-gallon totes, and then each tote I have a water pump. These are VivoSun pumps, and I got VivoSun pumps because they were a decent price. And I have a VivoSun grow tent. Let's see if we can read this on here. The water's a little bit hard to read, but I can get the specs on there. If you're interested, just let me know. Anyways, so VivoSun water pumps in the bottom of the 27-gallon totes, and then they're of course plugged in electricity, and then a line going to where they will be spraying the plants. I put this in the bottom, filled it up with water, and then I covered it just so no debris gets in there and clogs the pump or anything crazy. I'll also say the pumps are on a timer. This is a pretty nice outlet. You can program it so that you can see one side is always on and one side is switched. So the switch side is where we have our two pumps hooked up, and I've got this to come on twice a day, once every 6 hours for 1 minute. You cannot time this one under a minute, but you can go as low as 1 minute. So you can do minute intervals, and you can set it up daily, every other day, however you want to do it. I've got it daily, twice a day, and you could do more than twice a day, but twice a day is plenty for us. So that surge protector is the one that has the timer on there. It works as kind of a 2-in-1 combo. And these are our pumps. Everything's going to our VivoSun grow tent here. So this is nice because I can control basically everything else on here. I can control the humidity, the light. There's an exhaust fan. I can control that. And just playing around with it. What I found is you want to have some exhaust, and I've also got the humidifier here, which can blow in, humid air, which I honestly don't need while I'm doing this misting because it gets pretty humid. But you can use the duct fan if you want to draw more air out, and so on. Alright, so here's our setup. We've got fans blowing. Matter of fact, I'm going to turn it up some. I had it turned down because some of the plants were falling over previously, but they're getting bigger now. We were gone for 8 days, and you can see a lot of growth. If you look at our before, you'll notice that they were pretty small. So this looks really good, and it looks like everything that was growing has grown. There's a few that have bad leaves, but overall looks really good. Obviously I need to up pot, and we're going to do that today. But essentially I'm taking a 1/4-inch line here, and I actually I was trying to figure out how should I hook these hoses up. I've got these nozzles. They're copper nozzles that are adjustable. You can see I can twist that to open or close it, and get it to spray just right. And also this line has a piece of metal in it, so you can bend it and it'll hold into the position you want it. And I couldn't decide how to do it, and I actually was like, you know what, I have this puppy pin that I just put in here, so it's kind of funky trying to wrap this puppy pin around. But if you don't have that, you could use, like, I was going to use a small table or anything, just something with some elevation. And if you don't have anything, you could go from like pole to pole and then zip tie it that way. But this obviously gives it more support in between. And basically I've got T connectors on the 1/4 inch irrigation line that connects to these misters that spray the water. I monitored and adjusted the position so that we're getting an even spray everywhere. And I've found in the past that what can happen is you go on vacation and it can siphon. In other words, when the pump turns off, the water can keep flowing and cause it to flood. That actually happened a year ago when I went to Africa, and we were 2 weeks gone. Now the plants were okay, but we had a lot of water in the bottom. So what I've done to stop it from siphoning, what you do is you want to run the water line so that you're at the highest point, and you want to break the line. So what I did was I put a T, and this is essentially an opening so air can go in here. But I made this a drip emitter so that when the pump is on, it's not just shooting water out the top, because that would happen. This drip emitter has a very low gallons per minute flow rate. It's very slow drip. So with it on for 1 minute, it's only going to drip maybe a couple times, which is fine. But with it off, you've got air, and the air in the top of this line creates an air gap so that you will stop the flow of water, so it will not continue to siphon, if that makes sense. So just a little idea I came up with, and I think it worked pretty good. So just run it to the top with a T, just a small piece of hose, and the drip emitter so that it's not spraying water. It worked great. We do have a small amount of water as expected, because obviously this is not an exact science. It's spraying everywhere, guys. I've got these hoses all around. So of course some is going to spray down, but it's not that much. I'm going to clean this up. We're going to up pot today. But yeah, the fans are running. We've got our lights adjusted so that we've got the proper light intensity, and all of that can be adjusted with the app as well. So I can do this locally, but I have an app where I can remotely monitor all the conditions, and then I can adjust the strength of the lights, or the frequency, or the strength of the duct fan. And same here, I've got the humidifier, which we actually didn't use because it's humid enough without it. And then your fans to blow water. So there you go, a little more detail on how to set up this little concoction I made, which worked well for vacation to keep our seedling plants alive. All right, later guys.